Arthur!
Why did you say that name? Why did you say that name?
I feel the minutes count down on the clock again. Feel like I'm playing in a game that I can never win. Time is running out, I know I gotta make a choice. So many whispers in my ear that I can't hear my voice. Tell me, will it end the situation that I'm in? Or am I bound to sit alone, drowning in my sin? Get right or get left, what will it be? Time is running out, the blood is flowing down the streets. People need to know we're living in a war zone.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loot Bros Podcast. I'm your host, Resident Darrell, and with us tonight, we have our gaming gal, Kalai.
What's up, everybody? I'm so excited. It's Easter.
Ooh.
I have off for tomorrow.
Boom.
Which means I don't have a time limit.
Boom. Awesome. And we have the beast from the Middle East. We got Tricky.
The Middle East?
I don't know. That's just where it came from. It's just that's what came out. That's what you got.
Wow. I mean,
you had your hood on earlier, and I was going to make a...
You bring me on the show to save the show because you can't even get your own host to show up.
I can't. You're right.
And you insult me.
It's not.
Why is it an insult to be from the Middle East? There's good people from there.
But you called me a
from
beast.
over there.
You called me a beast.
The beast.
I was going
like Brock Lesnar.
I was going to say that it's not Joe's fault that he had 3-day-old gas station sushi for lunch today.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone should. If you're listening to this right now, whether you're on Discord, Facebook, wherever, would you please go to any of your Loot Bros tabs and say, "Hey, Joe, sorry about your butt," because he is in the bathroom right now. He called us earlier. Tricky was talking to him, and he said, "I cannot stop this barrage of insane diarrhea. Please help me."
You know, and I got to behave on your show because I don't want to get suspended from work again. Last time I was on the show,
we all know who ratted you out. It was Joe.
Well, I don't know who ratted me out, but when you get called into the principal's office at work, like, did you do what you said you did? I'm like, what are you talking about?
Like, I didn't do that. Come on.
We were listening to a podcast. I went, oh, shit.
I'd be like, nah, I didn't do that. What makes you think I would say? What makes you think I would do something like that?
I would never do something like that.
I would never poop in the hopper. I'm literally not pooping in the hopper right
now. Now that's got to be cut because I will get suspended.
Why would you give your work this podcast?
I didn't.
That's what he did. What it is on his resume.
Not.
On his resume, he was like, they're like, name, what are some of the things that you did that would deem you successful in life? And he was like, well, I was on the Loot Bros podcast. And let me tell you about a thing that I did not do.
That's why I felt safe telling us on this show. I was like, oh, they'll never hear this. Sure enough, they did. Well, just so you know, my job listens to your podcast.
Hey, man, thank you. Oh, actually, you know what? It's time to give a shout out to our patrons, right? Our patrons for the month of April. Now on
quick question I'm sorry, I just have to piggyback off something Tricky said before you go into that. I'm sorry, since they actually listen to us, does that mean that they have taste because they don't listen to your show?
They listen to my show too.
Okay.
Well, piggybacking off of that, we want to give a toast to our Patreon producers for the month: MZ Nitro. My name is effing Mayo. Matt G, bumping it up. He said he's got a pledge and he's coming on the show next week while I'm gone to give this pledge live. Yeah, I made that same face.
Wait, who's running the show next week?
Zach said he was going to handle it. I'm off. I told you we're getting
up.
Do what?
Zach would actually show up.
I mean, probably not. He's not here today to defend himself. He said he was going to handle it, but here we are. So who knows?
And I also want to point out, I'm on the show and Joe's not. So he's dodging who, Joe?
That's right. He's dodging you.
I came to your home turf. I walked in your front door, kicked down the door, and where are you? I don't know. Trying to find a cord to stick up your ass.
That's right. Speaking of things in the butt, we also want to give a shout out to our last patron producer for the month. That is the Department of Sanitation from New York City.
I hate you so much.
You come here specifically for the laughs. You know you have a good time.
You know what I'm doing right now, Darrell? I'm playing Gotham Knights.
You're playing Gotham Knights? I thought about it, but I need to stop. I need to save those trophies for later in the week, or next week or week after. So, so we're doing this trophy competition. Give a shout out to all of the trophy hunters that are participating in the GTTSC from the Loot Bros community. We have an excellent community, and the trophy hunters have really showed up. Matter of fact, when we get to the leaderboards later, guys, whew, man, this is one of the better weeks we've ever had. But we've got multiple teams that have spun out of the Loot Bros and Trophy Whores communities, I guess is the best way to put it. So we've got Team Loot Bros, which is myself, Gareth, and Redbeard Rick. So obviously you guys know Gaz or Gareth, and Rick from being a part of the community. And then we have MZ Nitro. We have I Yield to No One from the Trophy Horse. And then we have Misi Goats a lot from the Loot Bros leaderboard. And they're a team. I actually forget the name of their team, but they are really doing well. So it's been exciting. We have a couple messenger groups going, and it's been pretty cool participating in the GTTSC. I love it. This was an event that Gareth and I did, and MZ we did a couple years ago. And out of all the trophy competitions and all the little events I've participated in, that's not Loot Bros sponsored, this was my favorite one by far. Obviously, the Backlog Beatdown is the greatest thing that's ever been created, but second to that,
until you guys start changing rules mid in the year.
Hey, we have a commissioner for that.
Yeah. Corrupt commissioner.
You ain't lying. I'm styling you friggin' has paid that dude off. Nobody, you ever seen Prison Break?
Uh-huh.
When you got Teabag and he's like, I got a whole nother pocket over here. That's friggin' Styling and JT. He's like, I got a whole nother pocket over here, Tricky. Come hold it.
You start letting people beat games at the arcade and counting them as points,
hey,
you've gone off the rails.
You gotta sit.
Hey, arcade games are real games too.
That's right. Arcade game lives matter.
Arcade game. You're supposed to be playing your backlog. He's at an arcade. Yeah, all the arcade games are backlog. I'm just gonna go and start beating pinball games.
Do it. They're old. I mean, hey, I've been meaning to play those for a long time. It counts.
It's the last pinball game. I've been dying to play that.
Hey, you know what? Backlog. Let's do it. 3 points. Let's go. All right, check it out, guys. This is the Loot Bros podcast. Each and every week, we come together. We talk about games. We talk about nonsense. The past couple weeks, we've had some excellent guests on here at the Loot Bros. We had Will from the PlayStation Collectors podcast, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. If you haven't checked it out before, it is absolutely awesome. Go check them out. And then before that, we had Dan Evans and Zeke Romancer, like Necromancer, but Zeke. But we had Dan from the Godfo universe come on here, and we had a really good time with those guys. So 2 weeks in a row, we talked PlayStation 2 nostalgia and some of our favorite games. And then we talked PlayStation 3 and some of the games that we've collected and some of the things that are really great. So this week, we got Tricky Mick in the house, and we are going to talk about God's greatest handheld. When he came and he handed it down to us little peasants in the world, he gave us the PlayStation Vita.
That was a Steam Deck?
Here is the greatest handheld that has ever existed to this point, and quite possibly will exist in the future. So we're going to talk a little PS Vita, but this time, instead of talking about things that PS Vita nostalgia, we're going to talk about the rumors of the new PS Vita 2 or the next Sony handheld. Now, this one is really making the rounds. I have seen so many articles and so many people have sent them to me. So whatever happened to set this world ablaze with Vita rumors again has been so good. And Tricky, you and I, we recorded a episode of the Loot Bros Deep Dive where we talked about Gotham Knights. So if you are listening and you're not a patron, or you are a patron, but you're only at the $1 tier, bump it up to the $5 tier, go to the Deep Dive, listen to all the excellent stuff we've reviewed and we've covered over the past year and a half. But this month, for the month of April, we have Gotham Knights, the greatest 7.0 I've ever played. So we did a good job. But on that particular episode, you and I talked about the old podcast Beyond, and that stirred something up in me, right?
Oh, no.
It's like an enema, just stirred it up. And it was like, you know what? Let's do this. So I went back on Spotify to it's like episode 162, of Podcast Beyond. So it was Greg, it was Colin, it was Ryan Clements.
Okay.
And guess what they were talking about?
Vita.
The rumored PSP2, which was ended up being the Vita. It was so good because you and I talked about that. And then I was like, you know what? I do miss that. That was so good. That was the podcast of all podcasts. Podcast Beyond was the best. It was funny. It was so organic. Those guys had such great chemistry. And
I disagree with you.
Did you listen to Podcast Beyond by then?
Yeah. And I don't think it was the best podcast.
Okay.
If you want to listen to the best podcast, go back and listen to the Loop Bros podcast.
Oh, dang. I will take it. I'll take it. So second best podcast of all time.
I don't think the Loop Brothers existed back then, did it?
I mean, we started because of Podcast Beyond. That was what got us going.
No.
Listened, Podcast Beyond.
No, you guys weren't the Loop Brothers. You were Remember the Loop.
That's right. Remember the Poot. So, but yeah, so we actually started because of our love of that show. But I went back and I listened to it, and lo and behold, if the first available episode is not Vita Rumors. And I said, how timely, how awesome is that? So I got to sit there for an hour and a half and listen to them talk about, it's got 2 thumbsticks. Oh, it might have triggers. Oh, it's going to be this. Oh, it's going to be able to connect to the PlayStation Network and download games natively. Oh, it was just all these cool things. Oh, it's going to have rear touch. So it's pretty interesting to see how the rumors at the time actually shook out to be correct. So hopefully history will repeat itself. But before we get into all that, let's go around the horn. Let's talk about what we've been playing, starting with our guest, Trickymic.
I am currently playing Gotham Knights. Okay, I just want to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for having me. I'll see you guys later. Man, disrespect.
I did it on your show. I had to do it on mine.
That's right.
I just want to warn anybody. If the Rangers score, you're going to be here goal horn.
Well, don't worry. According to Joe, they don't score anymore. So,
they haven't scored tonight yet. So, play the Division. New Game Plus came out on God of War Ragnarok, so probably going to go back and play that.
Nice.
Haven't started that yet. No new trophies though. Disappointing.
That's kind of lame.
And then I've been playing a whole bunch of spam. Finally passed Sid in Platinums, and I probably sent him a message which he didn't respond. So he probably upset he lost his Platinum lead.
I mean, he did jump way up there. So
to be fair, okay, I love Sid to death. Everybody knows that. For 2022, I was basically buying all the spam.
Yep.
And Darrell knows this because I sent him monthly pictures of like the spam folder's growing.
Yep.
And I gave Sid access to all of that. Now Sid was under no restriction, and I actually went a full year, unlike Darrell, without playing spam.
Hey, I went a full year.
You did not. You failed.
You had people change the rules.
I didn't change nothing.
Arbitrary 50th first fastest completion bullcrap. And whenever you needing concessions, as you always do.
That was that was a spam game, regardless of the.
That was spam-ish, but at the time, there was no way to know. There was no.
Oh no, there was definitely a way to know, and I'll tell you I'll tell you the exact way you knew. You ready? CJ told you to play.
How dare you bring him into this?
Any game that CJ tells you to play, it's spam.
Well, that's not true. He actually plays a lot of good games.
Yeah. Well,
and we should not use the Australian Lord's name in vain.
he said this is high quality spam. It's like at least 2 hours. And at the time, there was no way to verify yes or no. So, and what did I do? I put it on the shelf. You know what I did this week, Tricky? I pulled that game off the shelf and I finished it.
Oh, good. So you waited a year to finish it.
I waited a year to finish it. Yeah, because you changed the rules. I
didn't change the rules. Garrett and Rick set the rules from the start.
They're spam haters anyways. So
you just decided not to follow the rules. And then I gave you an out because it was for the kids. And then you wound up not paying. So there. I'm letting it all out.
I didn't lose.
You did lose.
No lose, no pay. That was the rules. Dims was the rules. So, all right. Anyways, what else are you playing? Just Rams a lot.
That's it. That's all we've really been playing.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, Gotham Knights, greatest 7 I've ever played. What you got, Kalai?
I've beat I don't remember if I talked about this or not. I beat Guacamelee 2 with Jim.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun. And then we were really sad because it was such a great co-op game. It's such a great co-op Metrovania that we wanted to play another game like that. And the only thing we could think of is to replay Guacamelee 1. So we actually picked up Guacamelee 1 again because we beat it a couple years ago. And we're playing it again as a 3-player game, co-op.
Nice.
Yep, playing that. Been playing a little bit more Vampire Survivors. I'm trying to 100% the game.
That actually just won Game of the Year for in the BAFTA Awards.
It's a really good game, and it was only like $3.
I like the headline that I saw when they won. It's like finally an Xbox exclusive wins Game of the Year.
Got him.
And they point out not only did it beat Elden Ring, it beat God of War Ragnarok. I'm like, you guys have to point out that Xbox has an exclusive. Oh wait, no, it's on PC as well. Not exclusive.
Dang.
Well, a lot of other exclusives are on PC.
That means it's not exclusive.
Yes, it is. Because you have to pay.
Exclusive if it's on another system.
You have to play it through the Game Pass app, though.
We call it mutually exclusive at that point.
Mutually exclusive. I've also been playing Slay the Spire.
Oh, Rick got his hands on you, huh?
No, actually, I got my hands on him.
Whoa, Jim. You heard it.
I played the game before him. Me and Jim did. He put it on the list. I decided to rebuy the game on PlayStation for the trophies.
The greatest system ever made.
So as I sit here, I'm playing.
According to Eric, you don't play PlayStation games because you're at the bottom of the rarity leaderboard.
Well, I'm at the bottom of the rarity because I'm so freaking busy. Like I've been so exhausted. I don't know if you heard. Jim was in the ER. He had to have emergency gallbladder surgery. So like I was taking care of him, and they're like, "Oh, he can't lift anything more than 15 pounds." I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's no problem." And Jim's like, "Oh, I can't lift that water; it's too heavy." I'm like, "Oh, okay, great." So he's like, "Yeah, I can't cook, I can't do any of this." So like I've been taking care of him. He's finally starting to get back to doing things. Last weekend, I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do nothing. You know what? I'm just gonna play games." I had a root canal. No, that was 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago. Last weekend, I had to get my hair cut. And then we went and bought a brand new set, a bedroom set. I needed a new bedroom set. So we went and bought a new bedroom set. And then like Sunday, I had to like cook. And we were cleaning up the house because we were getting ready for this new bedroom set that's coming. It's just been a nonstop. I have been so difficulty playing games. Vampire Hunters is like such a quick, easy game that I can play on the Steam Deck while I'm watching TV.
You know what you could also do while you're watching TV?
What's that?
Play a Vita.
Boom! Get trophies on the Vita.
I can't see on the Vita. I can't see the Vita.
Well, you have to take it out of the box and hold it in front of you.
You have to open
the screen is very, very small, and my eyes are getting.
Look, it's not the size of the screen; it's how you use it.
It's not the size of the ship; it's the motion of the ocean.
That's right.
No, the Vita screen is really tiny.
Although it does take you a long time to get to England in a rowboat. Just saying that.
And so I have actually trouble seeing it. So I like want to play games on it, but I can't see it to play the games. So I'm hoping. Well, when we get to the Vita 2 rumors, we'll talk about that.
Well, you know what, Kalai? If you've got a Vita that needs love, I've got a place for it.
No. I have 2 Vitas because my friend from Sony said I should buy one before they became overpriced on the market. So I have the regular one, and then I have the blue one I imported from Japan.
Is it blue like on both sides or just blue on the front?
No, it's blue on both sides, I believe. Hold on a second.
That's the aqua blue one? Yeah. So I've got the blue and black one. I want the blue on both sides. Yeah. Oh, that thing's beautiful.
I know. And you know what the sad part is? I do really want to play the Vita. I literally can't see it. And every once in a while I pick it up and I'm like, oh, I'm going to play the Vita. And I'm like, I can't see this shit.
So check this. This is my Japanese import black front. Oh wait, dang it, that's the wrong one. Mother, I grabbed the wrong one. It's in the. This is just a random black one. No, it's in a box.
It's all right. It's all right. We know you really don't have one because once you go black, you don't want to go back.
Whoa, geez. So, what's funny is I've got a stack of Vitas in this little drawer over here. I got this Vita that I've been playing off and on all day, but I just packed up a lot of the stuff in my room because I'm taking everything out of my downstairs this weekend and moving it into a pod unit so that I can have my floors refinished while I'm gone next week. And all my Vitas and all my games and stuff I packed up to put them in another part of the house so that nobody comes in there with them sticky fingers. So I packed up my Vitas that I'm not using.
Yeah, I have I actually can't see far away, so I wear contacts. And now my contacts are so strong that I need to wear glasses. So I actually wound up buying an OLED Switch because it was a not much cleaner screen and it was bigger. But I do like the Vita and I would love to go play the Vita. I bought a ton of games on the Vita, but I just every time I pick it up I'm like I can't see. But you know what? I'll try it. I'm going to try it. I'll try it again just for you.
So my daughter
what you can also do? Get a Vita TV.
Oh, there you go.
Aren't they hard to get?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, maybe, and I mean, it may be limited the number of games you can play on it.
Hey, look here.
They may block some games that like Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is a first-party game, from being able to play it on the Vita TV.
Define hard to get. Available on eBay? Yes. Expensive? Oh yeah.
Well, there you go. You could always send me one, Tricky.
No, I'll have Darrell send you one because he's got like 9 of them.
I've got 9 Vitas and 2 Vita TVs.
So he's got an extra Vita TV for you.
So you know what? I've got my bag semi-packed for the week. I've got a PS3 in it. I've got a Vita in it. I got a Vita TV.
Where are you going?
To the mountains. 6 or 7 days in the
To
mountains.
hell if he's not lucky.
You're right.
Oh, you gonna do some fishing?
Maybe. I'm not bringing any fishing poles. So
are you gonna do hiking?
We'll definitely do some hiking. To do some thrifting. We're gonna go find video games in North Carolina. That's the goal. So, yeah, but we're gonna be out of the house. We're gonna be in a cabin, and I'm bringing. I've got the switches charged. So PS3 in my bag. We're gonna freaking do this thing. Playing all old stuff too. I ain't playing no modern bull crap.
There's nothing to play on the Switch.
I mean, no, I didn't say I was bringing it to play. I was just bringing it to have it. I got Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 downloaded on.
It's not true. There's stuff on the there's Xenoblade Chronicles. That's really good. I mean, Fire Emblem.
Let me rephrase. There's just no Zelda game to play on the Switch.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So,
sorry, my whole thing is to troll today.
That's all good. Somebody's got to do it. All right,
that's what your everyday is. Why don't you do something different? When you decide to change your personality and stop trolling and stop going, there's those other games. Those other games. I know I'm a Zelda fan.
I very rarely troll. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm normally the professional one on my show.
All right, speaking of professionals, let's talk about these professional trophies I've been popping. So I've been playing some Jackbox Party Pack 2. I'm down to 2 trophies left on Jackbox Party Pack, but they are so freaking annoying. Did you ever play Jackbox Party Pack 2, Tricky?
Yeah, actually, that's how I won the war against you.
Oh my gosh. Was it that one? Was it 2? God, dude, that's
I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but I literally sat there for 9 hours just to pop the rarest platinum.
God, dude, those Bomb Squad trophies on Party Pack 2 are so frustrating. But I've been playing that. I've been playing some Young Justice Legacy. I popped the platinum and Totally Normal Journey. That is the questionable, high quality, not quite spam game that we talked about. Played some Jackbox Party Pack 8 with the family. I've been playing 2 and 8 with the kids and the wife. I I've been playing some Hot Shots Golf 2. That is awesome. It's got trophy support. Woo-woo. Some Team Sonic Racing, some Minecraft, and the main one, I guess, that I'm working on right now is My Big Sister on the Vita. So this is a Ratalaika published game, but it's got a little horror to it. I don't know if you ever played the Red Bow.
I actually played that game and it creeped me out a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Cool.
Not the way you think it did. I really think, I think at one point they suggested a very child sexual if you go deep enough.
On the Red Bow or My Big Sister?
My Big Sister. Possibly.
There's some weird stuff going on in this game.
And I was just like, ooh, I don't think that's good to put something like that in a game.
I agree. I haven't come across anything like that yet, but it's definitely whack. But you are like a little kid, and there's a lot of questionable death.
And it was right in the beginning too. Did you go to the therapist?
I did go to the therapist. Yeah.
Did you pick up the teddy bear?
If it was for a trophy, I did. Yeah, but I don't remember.
At one point, she picks up the teddy bear, and she and the therapist is like, "Show me where he touched you and stuff." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah." I did both. I did because there's two different trophies you get right there, and but you have to do something really fast. When you give them the doll, you have to skip the dialogue really fast, and then it gives you the option to go pick up the brain and bring the brain over, and you can pop both trophies in one run. So I don't remember what the dialogue was because I'm following a trophy guide on it, and it said to kind of spam your way out of that one. But that's probably why they're probably like, let's cover up the questionable, potential abuse thing there. Yeah, but in the Red Bow, there's that weird, that person that hangs himself too. There's that weird suicide thing. So there's definitely similar art styles too. I don't know if the same person made each game, the same developer.
Right. I mean, suicide is pretty bad. I mean, if anybody's ever contemplating that, please just don't, seek help.
Yeah, 100%.
But like the child pornography or child molestation, I think is not something that should be put in video games.
Unforgivable sin.
It really is. Yes.
Yep.
That's the best way to put it.
So, but yeah, I've been playing through that. And then that's so during this GTTSC trophy competition that we're in, each week you get bonuses. There's bonus objectives. So it's like, hey, you're going to play, and the idea is to get the most rare trophies. The more rare they are, the more points they're worth. Okay. Similar concept as what we're doing with Gareth, right? So all these, there's 3 events that we're in right now, and they all kind of tie together. Excuse me. But with this one, they like give you like a bonus. So if you like this week's particular bonus for the single, what am I looking for? Competition and the team competition is one of them is get 20 trophies in a game that released in 2019, and then another is get 20 trophies in sports games.
Oof.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm playing the red.
Wait, does WWE count as a sports game?
It does. So do most of the racing games, and so does Hot Shots Golf.
Oh, okay.
And Hot Shots Golf is awesome. Excuse me. So what I did was I've got my 20 trophies and gosh, I got the hiccups. Hot Shots Golf, and then goodness gracious, it just came out of nowhere. I can't get rid of the hiccups. That's why I keep breathing in heavy. I'm trying to hold it down. But I'm playing the Red Bow because that came out in 2019, and I can play it on the Vita, so I can kind of play it on the go. So it's been pretty freaking awesome. So that's me. That's what I've been playing. I'm going to jump into these leaderboards real quick. Clyde, you got the backlog beatdown?
No, because everything, I usually read it off my iPad, and that iPad is in a different room because my entire bedroom has been broken down. Plus, you always do it in post, so I'm very sorry.
Oh, good. I got it brought up. So, all right, we're going to start off with I'm going to do the trophy leaderboard last because it's pretty impressive, and I'm pretty happy with it.
He's in the lead on it.
Yes, you are. Spoilers. All right, so we're going to start with the backlog beatdown, and then we're going to go into the leaderboard. So, first place, no surprise, I paid off the commissioner, bro. with 102 points. We got Red Bear Rick with 56. JT, the commissioner that Styling paid off, he's at 42. Duplex at 38. We have Diego with 34. Gaz with 30. We have Yield with 23. We have Departed with 22. Resident Darrell with 22. Sadik with 22. Trying Casually Games with a questionable 21. He and his wife played the co-op on House of Ashes, but there's no trophy for completing it in co-op, so no trophy popped. And he said, I didn't take a picture of the end credits because I thought the trophy would pop. He said, there's a trophy for doing it in single player mode, not in multiplayer mode. And I said, oh, sounds like a lie to me. Sounds like BS, sucker. So
just an update. It looks like Joe is on his PlayStation, so it's been so bad he actually took the PlayStation into the bathroom.
That is some serious, serious diarrhea, guys. Like,
listen, Joe needs to learn to buy a PlayStation and leave it in the bathroom.
That's right. If he was a real man, he would. There's two things Joe would do if he had some sense. Maybe even three, right? For one, he would just wear Depends because he gets diarrhea so often now. We hear all these crazy stories about his diarrhea at work and on the road. And two, if he was really a real man, he would get, a backup friggin' charger for his laptop. Because all I ever hear about is like, oh man, I got this crazy diarrhea and I'm in my bathroom and I can't take my laptop with me to record.
I think it's just he didn't want to. He knew what was coming on. It's like, no, I can't be on the show with Tricky.
He's dodging you.
He's dodging me.
Comes
on my show. He says, "Oh, Tricky's always dodging me." Yet I come to his house, and what does he do? Dodges.
He dips out. I said, "I got to poop."
I mean, Joe, if you need it, I got a hopper I can tell you about.
Alex with 20, CJ with 20, Jared with 18, Kalai with 17. We got Enzy with 16, Dino Killer with 12, One Plat Zach with 8, James the Nerd with 7, Jim with 4, Sid with 3, Haley Pickle with 2, and Noah with 2. Sorry, I had something in the way of my screen.
Yeah, Jim actually said to me, I don't think I'm actually on the leaderboards yet. I'm like, I don't think you are either.
He had 2 points. He's had 2 forever.
You didn't mention my name either.
That's because somebody refuses to turn in their stuff because they're tired of getting picked on.
Oh, you heard about that? Okay. I just wanted to see if
well, A, I edited the show, and B, I listened to the show.
You didn't edit the show? What are you talking about?
I mean, someone edited the show.
Yeah, someone edited the show.
Wait.
Don't worry, Alex don't listen to the show.
You brought up the fact that you don't want to be on the leaderboards and then complain you're not on the leaderboards?
No, he was talking to his boys about how every time he submits games for points, there's always some kind of rule.
And somebody goes, oh, he's cheating.
Yeah. And then he tells everybody how he's cheating immediately after that. So then
I'm cheating on the rarity, but that's not really cheating. That's
oh my gosh! When you said I'll get some BS job like work at a gas station, it was so funny. And then they're like, "Wait a minute!" And then everyone gives you a hard time about it. You're like, "Well, no, that's not really what I meant." But I mean, I would.
No, okay.
You weren't trying to be insulting. It just came out.
Well, I meant like I'm going to go get some job where I don't have to, I'm not working towards a career. That's what I meant.
Some BS job. Yeah, I get it. It was funny. When you said that, I was like, dang, I feel bad.
Wait, so you want to get like a job it would be basically trash?
Wah, wah. He was talking about retiring and just getting a job where you don't have to be, beat down by the man.
Yeah, a job where I can turn around and say, "Oh, you want to play this BS? I quit."
Yep, there you go. All right, Loot Bros leaderboards were true achievements, hitting up them Chivos. Oh, wow. All right, Sadik with 4,545 achievement points. I'm styling on your bro with 2,085 achievement points. We have Harry, Gaz's son, with 170 achievement points. He stays way higher in the leaderboard than his dad. I mean, it's embarrassing at this point. All right, Sunny Punny to you with 130 achievement points. And Dump Liquor in 5th place with 30 achievement points.
Oh, what was his name?
Dump Liquor. It's this guy we used to work with at Williams. It's so funny because I knew he casually played games, and we were talking one day, and he was talking about he picked up a bunch of Xbox games. I was like, oh, that's awesome, dude. I was like, you hunt for achievements at all? He's like, I like to play and just I get them if I get them. I said, well, dude, you should join our leaderboard. He listened to the show casually, and I was like, what's your gamer tag? And he told me his Dump Liquor. I was like, that's the freaking best. That's the best name, like Xbox name ever. Yeah, so Dump Liquor. But yeah, shout out to Lil Zach. I doubt he listens to the show anymore. He got some big highfalutin engineer jobs, and now he just builds bridges and plays Xbox.
Yeah, he's too good for us now.
Yep, that's right. But he's still on the leaderboard, still popping Chivos. But I want to point something out real fast. All right, so on our Xbox leaderboards, we only have 17 people. Okay, we only have 17 people on the leaderboard, and out of 17 people on the leaderboard, only 6 scored achievement points. Okay, for now. I want to dial this in. For Game Pass to be so great, how come can't none of y'all play it?
Well, first of all, we need to establish the fact that only 17 people own an Xbox.
Okay, boom. That's actually it. Half of them play on PC.
Yes.
I actually want to play. Like, I'm working on a game on Xbox. High on Life is Xbox, which is a really fun game.
It's okay. I played a little bit of it.
It
made me laugh in the beginning.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm really surprised that you tried it, because I don't feel it's any kind of your humor.
It was funny. It made me laugh. That whole tutorial section where Phil, your divorce attorney, was talking to you, that was hilarious. Like, that was really funny. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then he basically talks about how your wife was banging all the aliens or whatever. That was like the whole way that played out was that was comedic, good comedic timing. So
yes.
The guns talking to you, that was kind of annoying, but whatever, So
it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. It was fine. I played a little bit of it. So
wait, High Life is the one where the guns were insulting you?
Yeah, basically.
I want to play that.
Yeah. So I want to flip over to our PlayStation leaderboards. I want to point something out, right? So we have 35 people on the PlayStation leaderboard. Okay,
double. Just pointing that out. That's
just
double.
Pointing that out. They're double. Out of 35, 21 scored trophies in the past 7 days.
That's all right. I scored enough trophies for all 35.
Yes, you did. But I just want to point that out, that more people got trophies on our leaderboard than there are Xbox contestants. Interesting.
I mean, does that really surprise you, though?
No, it doesn't, actually. I just wanted to say it out loud. All right, it just makes me feel good. So first place, Trickymic with 955 trophies. Last game it says you have a pot of trophy in was the Czech Run.
Yes. Quality game.
Is it good?
No.
All right. Then we had.
Hold on. The good thing with the run games is you could fail over and over again, and it doesn't matter. Like, you could literally just put the controller down, and you'll get every trophy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. In second place, we have the Affectatious Daunt with 478 trophies, and he's playing Try to Fit.
And I just want to point out, I got double the amount in second place.
Dang. In third place, we have Duckless Thunder with 213 trophies, playing the Quiz This Australia. Fourth place, Measy Goats a Lot with 98 trophies, playing some Minecraft Dungeons. In fifth place, we have Mr. Matt spelled backwards, with playing some Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. I came in sixth place with 81 trophies. So sixth place with 81. That's
terrible.
You got it. So, and I want to point this out. All right. So Red Beer Rick was in 10th place with 44 trophies, and Gaz was in 12th place with 39 trophies. So pretty interesting. Those are my teammates. That's why I read them out. So good stuff. All right. You guys ready to get into some community questions?
Before you do, I just have a question.
Sure.
Do you have access to the leaderboard on the first week of the year?
No, it resets every week.
I'm just kind of curious because how many points I had.
Probably a lot. I might be able to go back into it and just kind of like play with the settings and see if it'll bring up the year.
Because I popped like 200 items in the first week.
It was a lot.
I had to get it out of my system.
You had to get it out of your system. That's what I was about to say. So, all right, we're going to start off at Discord. Okay. Ender writes in and says, question for tonight's crew. Why do you think the new Dungeons and Dragons movie better? Well, it says, why do you think the new Dungeons and Dragons movie better than Black Adam? Or I'm assuming it's supposed to say better than Black Adam. Was it because Black Adam didn't have Bella Ramsey to rocket it to the success it needed to survive the James Gunn's axe? Have you guys seen the new Dungeons and Dragons movie?
No, I don't have. I'm not a D&D guy. But I heard it's actually pretty funny.
Did you watch it, Kalai?
No, I want to. We haven't really been going to the movies. We actually stopped going to movies. First of all, it's been getting way too expensive. I don't know if you saw what like AMC did, but now you have to pay premium prices for seating, which I think is BS.
Well, my stocks tanked from there, so.
And the other thing is with Jim's device, we have to carry battery packs with him, things like that. And I have like a small bladder, so I can't even like sit during an entire movie without peeing 3 different times. So I'd rather just watch it at home where I could pause it, which really sucks because I also want to see the Super Mario Brothers. I want to see Dungeons and Dragons and the Super Mario Brothers.
Well, I don't know anything about D&D. I didn't even know this movie existed. So no, I didn't watch it. And if Bella Ramsey was in it, I would boycott it. So there's that, because she's a mole person.
Didn't know she was in it. I don't think she's in it. That's the worst part.
That's the best part. She's not in it. I might actually watch it.
I know Chris Pine is in it, who's very good looking. I know. Oh,
you know who's not very good looking, Kalai?
Tricky? No.
Bella Ramsey.
I knew that answer.
Rick, he comes in and says that movie looks like absolute dog crap. I can't say I agree, but it probably is. All right, I'm styling on you, bro. Says, do you think Zack Snyder's inability to create a mega hit outside of the superhero genre ultimately renders him a one-trick pony? While I personally don't like Avatar, can Zack hold a candle to Jim's Cameron? I think I meant to say hold a candle to Jim Cameron.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that Zack Snyder's never made a good movie in his life.
Have you ever seen the movie 300?
Yes. Okay, so I take
Zack
that back. I take that back, but definitely not Justice League.
Okay. The Snyder Cut was obviously amazing.
Did he do Aquaman?
No, he did not.
Oh, that explains why it's a good movie.
Ooh. 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 All right. Well, have you seen The Watchmen?
Yes, a horrible movie.
Have you guys seen Army of the Dead?
No.
That's a movie he made for Netflix, but Batista's in it.
You know, actually, I think I started watching that.
I hear that was pretty good.
I turned it off.
Okay. All right. Well, Man of Steel was amazing. Legend of the Guardians was good. Watchmen, I thought was good. 300 was amazing. I thought his version of Dawn of the Dead was actually pretty good.
Crickets.
I was giving you guys an opportunity to say you had good taste.
No, I don't really watch any of those movies.
Crickets.
Well, since you didn't watch them, then I guess we'll have to render you out of this one. So, yeah, I can't say I agree with you there, buddy. Now, I will say this new movie that Zack Snyder's making for Netflix is called Rebel Moon. It looks really, really promising. So, I don't know. Maybe he'll change your mind there, Styling. Until then, you just have bad taste. So, all right. Next up, we have Ender, and he says, what do you think the conspiracy theory that WB knew what they were doing releasing the Whedon cut? Man, I got some freaking haters in the building today. He says they knew people would pay to see a dumpster fire and then demand the Snyder cut and then pay to see it too, not knowing it was just a longer dumpster fire version of the same movie. I'm going to say that is some tinfoil hat business, and I'm going to have to disagree with you there, buddy. Snyder cut is what we were going to get that to begin with, and it was going to be great. What say you, Kalai?
I mean, I'm just curious why we're getting all these Snyder stuff because Matt has said to me he's getting tired of all the Snyder talk and then post more questions
Then
about Snyder.
Yeah, and then he goes hard in the Snyder paint.
That's the same thing I get on my show. It's like, oh, please stop talking about the Microsoft acquisition. And then you get questions like, what do you guys think about this thing Microsoft just did? I'm
like, I was like, I told Tricky earlier, I was like, I got to commit to the bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not letting Snyder stuff go.
But ultimately, you do know it's bad. Right?
No, I don't believe it's bad at all. I love it. I think it's amazing. I don't watch BVS because I think it's fun to have it on in the background. I genuinely adore this movie. It is my favorite movie.
It is a bad movie.
Tricky in his defense, sometimes movies get so bad that they become good.
I mean, what I would say was my favorite movie before this movie? The Rundown with The Rock. Before that, Big Trouble in Little China. Those would be the three movies that I can watch over and over and over and over and never get tired of them.
You know what I can watch? The Replacements.
That's a good movie. See, I could have told you it was bad to try to hurt you, but that's not the kind of guy I am. You know why?
Because you can have a conversation without trolling.
Because I got class.
Unlike other people like Nitro, who can't have a conversation without trolling.
What are you talking about? He has good conversations all the time.
You mean like X-Men class?
Maybe. All right. CJ writes in, he says, many say that reselling is the gateway to human trafficking. What sort of special skills do your children offer? Excuse me. And would you consider a bundle? Maybe throw in the youngest for free.
I can't answer this question because I'm blocked.
I got to say, I guess I gotta say my daughter has she's a comedic timing. My daughter is freaking hilarious. My daughter is going to be one of the funniest human beings that ever walked the face of this earth. That thing is clever. She's witty, and she drops these zingers out of nowhere.
You just call your daughter that thing?
Yeah, that thing. You want to see why? You want to see a picture of why I call her that thing? Look at this picture right here. Hang on, I got to make sure I can see your face. All right.
Where you sending it? On Facebook?
Oh. No.
The hell? What, she thinks she's Scuba Steve?
Dude, so today was Aloha Day at school, right? I'm going to send it in Facebook just so you can actually see this thing. So, I already got it. All right, so what they did was they said wear your favorite beach attire or like a lei or a Hawaiian shirt or something like that. So my daughter puts on like a dress that she likes with like a little overshirt and grabs these big goofy goggles. And they have like that little piece of plastic that goes over your lip. So what she did was she would put them on and it would grab like she'd put them on like where that plastic would get her lip and then pull her lip up with the plastic and then tighten the goggles on over her head. So it was a weird thing with her face. And so she went to school like that. And she just kept going up to people asking if they wanted to swim with her.
Did they like talk about the Hawaiian culture or anything, or did they just say beaches?
I think they made fun of Hawaiians.
That's a possibility.
They had Hawaiian pizza. Ham and pineapple.
It's an abomination.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I don't know what they did today, but that was what my daughter decided was appropriate to wear to school. So, and that was her teacher that sent that to us. They're like, this kid is ridiculous. So for all the audio listeners out there, use your best imagination. So I don't know. I don't know that I can say that reselling is akin to human trafficking. But I will say, CJ, that it's time for you to stop messing around and you need to get in on this business with us. Okay. We're going to leave the human trafficking out. And maybe as we get older, maybe we get a little more desperate. Who knows? But right now, let's stick to video games. Let's traffic the video games. All right. And CJ, there's no greater thrill in the world than completing sections of the PlayStation library with physical games. So I challenge you to get involved with myself and Rick and Diego and start collecting games if you have the balls. What do you say? All right. Diego writes in and asks, who is the almighty Zack Snyder? I freaking know one. The greatest director that ever lived.
Negative.
Okay. Who's your favorite director, Tricky?
That's a very good question. I never actually thought about this.
It's a question that I don't know that a lot of people do think about. How about you, Kalai? Who's your favorite director?
I don't know. I don't follow directors. I follow actors.
Okay, who's your favorite actor?
Tom Hanks.
That's a good one.
Jason Momoa.
Now, I mean, do you really like his acting or you just like the way he looks?
He's Hawaiian.
Okay.
He's my boy. He's my family.
Doesn't make him a good actor.
I like anybody that looks good.
Okay,
right,
so
hold
hold
on. So, Cole, I have to ask. You have to choose between Ryan Reynolds or Jason Momoa. Who are you choosing?
Jason Momoa.
Okay. Listen. No homo.
Oh God.
No, listen, no homo.
Okay.
But everybody's got this fascination about how Ryan Reynolds is like this sexy guy. And he is. He's good looking. But Jason Momoa is like light years hotter than he is.
I'm out.
I actually, he's doing a new movie. Jason Momoa.
He's in the new Fast and Furious movie.
No, he's actually doing a movie about Hawaii. We talked about this. I sent you that TikTok for your grandmother. Did you show her the TikTok of Jason Momoa in his loincloth?
Darrell is drawing a blank.
I'm out.
We talked about it on the last episode. Where
I know what you're saying. I haven't seen anything on the movie. I just remember you saying he was making a movie about Hawaii because he's Hawaiian.
Yeah, and he went on, I think, Conan or one of the late shows, and he took his pants off, and he was wearing the loincloth because he had to get used to wearing the Maui, the warrior gear. And I sent it to Darrell, and I was like, you got to show it to your grandmother.
Yeah, because my grandma loves her some Jason Momoa.
Did you show her?
No, I haven't seen her, and I didn't send it to her because I'm not putting that on my phone. No, I'm not putting a picture of a man in a loincloth on my phone.
Hey, didn't you watch 300? Like, isn't everybody in that movie in a loincloth?
That's right. Speaking of, that's a great director. That may be, since you don't have a favorite director, you can just use Zack Snyder as your favorite director for the time being. So I don't know that I would have ever even thought about a director or followed a director until the whole controversy around Zack Snyder came up. And that's really what got me even paying attention. It's like, I like his movies because I notice things retrospectively. There's things that I like about his films. And then I'm like, oh man, yeah, that makes sense. Oh man. Like, I like a little bit of slow motion here and there. I like when the camera kind of pans around and different frames on certain action sequences. But until this whole thing happened and this stuff was brought to my attention, I would have never been like, oh yeah, of course, Zack Snyder's the man. So now, of course he is. He's my favorite director. Has to be.
I also don't watch a lot of movies. I'm more into shows.
I used to watch a ton of freaking movies. That used to be my thing, but now I just watch BVS and Man of Steel and Justice League over and over again. That's all you need, though, really. All right. Gas writes in and says, if you are in a gaming competition and you're only allowed to pick one person to play any particular category of game out of all the known members of both communities and hosts, meaning the Trivia Whores and the Loot Bros, who would you pick for the following? The same person cannot be picked for more than one category, so pick wisely. So here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to read out all 12 categories, and then we're going to go back and say out of the two podcast groups and the community who we would pick for what, okay? First-person shooters, puzzle games, racing games, Completing the Grind. Hey-o. Rat Plats, Rhythm Games, Anime Titty Games, Going for the Platinum, Sports Games, Third Person Action Adventure, Fighting Games, RPGs. That's 12 different names that we have to come up with. You guys ready?
Oh.
And we can include listeners, correct?
Yeah. I would say let's start with
Well, there's not 12 hosts, so there has to be
right. We're going to have to pull some listeners in. Yep. So first person shooters, immediately I'm picking Tricky.
Negative.
Exactly.
Negative. First person shooter, I'm going to go with.
Are we looking? Okay. Let's put a list together. Are we putting together a list of trolls, or are we putting together a serious list?
Let's do a serious list.
I'm fine with that. I got a piece of I got a little handy dandy piece of paper.
I'm glad you said paper because that looked like toilet paper to me.
Well, so what happens is this: my kids write notes to me and stick it in my notebooks for work.
Okay.
And that was a note. It says, "Who's better than Harry Tornado, Resident Darrell?" And this is the logo that my son made for me for my YouTube channel.
Oh.
Yep. I'm telling you, my kids are so sweet, dude.
All right.
I find crap like that all the time. All right. Here we go. So we're going to make a serious list. We're not no trolling. So for first person shooters, who out of both podcasts and the community will be the best at first person shooters? Who's our FPS guy?
That's hard.
I'm thinking Zach.
Yeah, Zach's a good choice.
Yeah, he plays a lot of Apex, some of the duty.
Now I'm going to choose you because I know you're a Call of Duty Ghost guy.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
going to go with you.
Kalai, you want to weigh in on that one? Me or Zach?
Zach.
All right.
Well, you
Because
can't pick other people.
Well, yeah, I know, but here's the problem: is that seriously, he only plays Ghost the campaign. He doesn't actually play the shooter.
Shh! Don't tell anybody. Okay, cool. Zach's off the board. All right, puzzle games. Who out of the two communities is the best at puzzle games? Now, if we need to take a break and move on to the next one, we can.
I'm going to go with Yield because he goes into We Are Here Forever games.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Yield with that one.
Okay. Yield. Kalai.
What are the other categories, real quick?
Racing games, completing the grind, rat plats, rhythm games, anime titty games, going for the platinum, sports games, third person action adventure, fighting games, and RPGs.
I'll say Jim for puzzle games.
Jim for puzzle games. Jim actually crossed my mind too. So, all right. That puts Jim at puzzle games. Sorry, Tricky. Number 3, racing games.
I'm going to go Nitro.
Okay. I was thinking Gaz. He's always playing a racing game. That dude's got tons of racing platinums. I was thinking Gaz or Yield. That was kind of where my head was at.
Yield, I wouldn't go with racing because Yield is more about the demolition derby type racing, the arcade racing. Where, you know what? Gaz is a good choice.
Okay. Kalai?
I can back Gaz.
Okay. Boom. Gaz on the racing games. There you go. All right. Number 4, completing the grind. I think that was pretty much JT.
Yes.
I mean, that's really hard because JT could also be RPG.
Yes. I don't think he's the only RPG fan, but I think when it comes to grindy, long platinums, it's either him or Styling.
No, I think JT is good.
Okay. He likes the grind. JT likes the grind.
Are we doing like one definitive answer for all of them?
Yeah, that's basically the way out. Since there's 3 of us, whatever the majority says.
I thought we were giving 3 answers to each one, but we're getting one finalized answer. Okay.
Yeah, we're just doing one definitive list.
Okay.
All right. So far we got Zach for first person shooters. We got Jim for puzzle games. We got Gaz for racing games. And then we got JT for the grind. All right. Number 5, rat plats. I think that was unanimous.
Tricky.
But I can't choose myself though, right?
I think it's you.
All right. For the record, I'm saying Darrell, but yes.
Okay. So here's the thing, right? So when it comes to both, podcast hosts, and when he says the known hosts and community members, like CJ would be a good choice. But CJ plays the rat stuff because he's trying to stay on the leaderboards. You don't become number one in Australia from playing long grindy games. You knock out the rat plats, then you play what you want. Tricky leans into the gimmick. It's like, oh, you want to make fun of me for playing rat plats? Well, guess what? I'm going to go and play 100 of them. Oh, what's that? You want to make fun of me? I'm going to play 200 of them. So I think that, especially when it comes to just the I don't know if you want to call it comedy, but the bit, you know what I'm saying? Like Tricky commits to the bit. So I would definitely give Tricky the rat plats. All right. Anime titty games. Who's our resident anime titty player?
You know what? I think we need to go back and change completing the grind.
Okay.
Because JT is the anime titty guy.
I don't disagree. I think that JT, he loves the anime titties, but you know who else loves the anime titties? And they don't necessarily say it out loud like JT does, but they've played more of them than anybody I know.
Hey?
Dr. Deuce, Jared. He plays all the Senra Kagura games on public transit back and forth to work.
All right, we'll go with that.
All right. What do you think about that, Kalai?
I agree.
Yep. All right. Jared, you are our official anime titty boy. JT's gonna be jelly. Oh wait, you know what? That was we missed one. We missed the rhythm games. That's actually kind of hard because you know what? I would say CJ because he always recommends all the rhythm games to other people.
Now, when you say rhythm games, are you talking Just Dance or are you talking about like Rock Band and Guitar Hero too?
Oh, you know what? That's right. That's right. Rock Band would definitely apply.
And honestly, I think I qualify for this category as well.
I think you do too, because you're probably the longest running Rock Band player out of the group because Neil doesn't ever show up to band practice.
Exactly.
But you're also the resident spammer. What do you think, Kalai?
I think we can make CJ the resident spammer because he does it to keep up on the leaderboards.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I hate to give it to CJ only because CJ doesn't. What I like about CJ is he doesn't like publicly go around saying that. He'll tell you it's a shit game.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So we backed it up. So Tricky. So CJ is our spam artist, and then for number 6 for rhythm games, we got Trickymic. I think that fits. I think that is that works. Number 8, going for the platinum. I think that's Alex. I think that's Alex. He would be, when it comes to just tried and true completionists, like I think there's times where JT is the most completionist. And then Stylen also is in that same realm of like, I play things to completion and I do full franchises. But if there's one thing is that Alex doesn't deviate. He plays to completion or as close to it as he can get. And he sticks with the game forever. And then he moves on to the next one. Never dips into the spam.
All right. I have to disagree only because there's one guy on our leaderboards that has 100% completion.
Who's that?
His PSN name is Trophy Chief.
Okay.
But I'm trying to remember his real name right now. We gave him a shout out before.
Would you consider him a prominent member of the community or just a passive member?
He's a passive member. I mean, he was back when Trophy Wars first started.
Okay.
He's not very vocal right now.
Okay.
But if we're going to give it to a prominent member, I'm going to say it's Alex.
Yeah, I think that.
But if we're going to give it to somebody who deserves it, 100% completion on the leaderboards is definitely like top of the.
Yeah. Well, he does say here for the known members of both communities and hosts. So,
all right, so then it has to be Alex because I would say this guy's not really known.
Right. What do you think about that, Kalai?
Can we use past guest?
All right, who you got?
How about the guest we had last week? And I'm sorry I forgot his name. Who was like beat Dark Souls in like 4 days?
Oh, Zeke.
Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke. I don't know that he. I don't think he messes with the platinums that much. I think it's just he liked Dark Souls, so he knocked him out. He just plays hard games.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's that much of a trophy hunter. I think the Dark Souls games, just because he plays hard stuff. He got the platinums just on principle. So, but that would be a good suggestion though. All right, number 9, sports games. Who is our resident sports game player?
I think we gotta give that to Garrett.
Okay, well, we already got Gaz on here. He says
Joe?
You can't repeat our answers.
Okay, Joe, I would consider because he plays the WWE games.
Yeah.
He also plays the MLB show, doesn't he?
I've never heard him talk about it.
Or he also plays the football games. He's always excited about it.
Well, let's look at his trophies and find out, because that is the best way to tell. So I don't remember Joe ever talking about anything, but he likes sports in IRL, but I don't know about in games. So let's see here. While I'm looking up Mr. TMNT 84.
All right, I got it.
Oh, you got him up already?
Well, it's loading, but yes.
Okay. While we're doing that, let's move on to we'll do third person action adventure for number 10. I would say if you looked at the games that I play the most, third person action adventure is kind of my wheelhouse.
I kind of was thinking about that because that includes stuff like your Resident Evil.
Yep.
We haven't put you on the list yet, right?
Yep. What do you think, Triggy?
I would say yeah. All right, so I'm looking at Joe's things, and the only sports games I see on here are WWE 2K, and he played NHL 20.
Okay, so
but I don't know if that he did play the show.
All right.
He's got 35% of those trophies.
Okay.
He did play Little League World Series baseball.
Yeah,
I think it has to go to Joe by default.
I think it goes to Joe. Good job, Kalai. See, look at there. She's been paying attention. She's like, I'm listening. I'm creeping in on y'all's convos. I know what you play. All right, number 11, fighting games. Who's our resident fighting game person now? Back in the day, that would have totally been Frosty.
I mean, he is a known member, so I would say it has to go to Frosty.
Yeah.
He would have been, but he's not he's not a part of either community anymore. He's excommunicado.
He blocked me as well.
So,
I think he's in our community, isn't he?
He came back. He and I have we've been talking very, very here and there.
Yeah, because I saw him ask for an invite into the group, and I accepted. I accepted him. I hope that's all right.
No, you're fine. I don't look. I reached out to him. I don't have any ill will. We just can't work together, and that's totally cool.
Plus, aren't you trying to get your PlayStation back?
No, he already got rid of everything. Yeah, and he got rid of my Barbie game, my PlayStation, and everything.
Wait, you gave him a PlayStation? You got rid of it?
So you remember when we did the it wasn't Extra Life, it was we were helping my wife with a fundraiser for March of Dimes, so 2 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. Oh God, I had to be 3 years ago now. Wasn't it Kalai?
Something like that, yeah.
maybe 4 years ago, because Kalai's been on the show for 2 years, and she came on when he came out. So we'll say 3 years ago just to split the difference. But years ago, and so what we're going to do is we're going to revisit an old comedic bit from the Loot Bros whenever we swindled Frosty into playing Barbie on stream. And so I gave him a PlayStation 3 Super Slim and my copy of Barbie and her sister's Puppy Rescue. And he was going to stream it when it was his block of the day. But he couldn't get that to work with his Elgato. So he ended up just playing Just Dance. And he wore his wife's shirt, slammed some beers and played Just Dance on stream, which was hilarious. Far be it, way funnier than the Barbie bit would have been. But we had a bit of some creative differences behind the scenes shortly thereafter, and he, left the podcast and left the band. So, some years go by. And we're in I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I just want you to know, I had heard some really effed up stuff that he said about me. And Yeah, I was like, you know what? What's happening here is that this dude's festering. You know, we didn't clear the air necessarily years and years ago. And what's happening is he's harboring ill will and he's lashing out to people that we're mutually friends with. But like, there's no real reason. Like, we don't have any real beef. Like, there's no, like, our last communications with each other were not bad. But like, I think that just we didn't really ever resolve whatever underlying issues were there. And so when he would speak out, I think he's just over time, he's like, man, F that dude. It's just kind of, that's my opinion. I don't know if that's true or not, you know, and I'm not trying to put anything out there that doesn't really exist. But anyways, some of our mutual friends were like, hey, you know, you probably should reach out to him. I was like, you know, it really has been a long time yet. So I texted him. I was like, hey, man, just want you to know, I hope you and your family are doing well, you know? That was it. That was what I said. And so he responded back and you were like, hey, you know, just kind of checking in on each other. I was like, he kind of brought, you know, he said, I didn't think you ever want to talk to me again. And I said, look, dude, I was like, I don't have any issue with you. Like, you and I we were best friends for 10, 15 years, maybe 18 years. I don't even know. I was like, you know, like, I'm not mad at you. You know, I didn't say this, but I'm like, I know what I'm dealing with. Like, we've had some really high highs and some really low lows. Like, that's what friends have that, you know what I'm saying? It is what
others fight.
When you're as close as me and Frosty were, like, you're going to have some bad days, and that's all good. And so, I was like, I'm good. And he kind of mentioned some stuff. I was like, I know what you said, and it's fine. I'm not mad. I don't care you had a bad day. I don't care that you said something ugly. It is what it is. You know, water under the bridge. So every so often, every couple of weeks, you know, we'll message back and forth a little bit. And I did notice that he got back in the group and stuff. And I noticed he hasn't, like, tried to get super involved or anything. But, like, you know, I don't think he and I will ever have another disagreement again. I think that, you know, we're good. We big boys. So that being said, I still don't think he gets the fighting game guy for the community because he's, you know, excommunicado. He's not really part of the community like that.
So, but who would you give it to then?
Oh, gosh. Who else plays fighting games in our community? That's the real question, because I don't think anybody really does.
I do, but I've already been.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're already on there. And, well, you only play what? Mortal Kombat and occasionally Injustice? Maybe some Street Fighter? Who else we have that plays fighting games? I mean, I played the crap out of Injustice too, but that's kind of like as far as it goes for me. I played Power Rangers.
Nobody else I know plays fighting games.
Way to go, Gaz, with the hard-hitting questions.
You know what? I take that back. I'm trying to think of his gamer name because I don't want to use his government name.
What about Thomas?
Yeah. He and Will talked a lot about a bunch of fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I'm gonna try to message this dude.
Well, I think that I mean, I won't know anybody else, and I think that Thomas might be our resident fighter guy. Unless Tricky comes up with something that makes us all go, oh yeah. But it sounds like I don't sound like we might not even know who this person is. Tricky doesn't know who it is.
Hold on. I'm gonna send you a message with his government name.
Okay, that's fine. We'll move to number 12 then. Who's our resident RPG person?
Probably me.
Well, I was thinking, Kalai, you got to go somewhere, and you do like RPGs.
Yeah, I mean, Joe would also be a fit for that, but
he's our resident sports guy.
Not only is he a resident sports guy, he really starts a lot of RPGs and doesn't finish him. You know, right. The RPG he was supposed to play and talk about. What was it? Wise Gate?
He was supposed to do Tales of Arise.
Tales of Arise, that's correct. He was so excited for that game. Like, when it was coming out, he was so excited for that game. And then he gets it as a pledge, and I'm like, oh my god, you're so lucky, because we're all getting really
you really crap games, yeah.
Yeah, and he's getting he gets that one. I'm like, oh my god.
Caneless.
Yeah, all right.
Caneless.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
You don't know who Caneless is?
I don't.
What about Gains and Games?
My brother?
Yeah.
He doesn't really He doesn't really play anything in particular. Yeah, he's a lot like me. Plays a lot of third-person action games. He'll play the occasional multiplayer game with his friends. So,
All right. So the reason I say caneless is because I've seen him actually like compete in tournaments.
yeah, but again, I think if we're going to stick with known members of the communities, he's unknown.
All right. Fair enough. Sorry, caneless. I tried.
He tried, but he stood down. So I think Kalai by default would be the one, the resident RPG player.
What about Homer?
Does Homer like the RPGs?
Yes, he's a big RPG guy.
Okay. Kalai, would you say you think Homer's the RPG person, or were you more the RPG person?
I think I'm more the RPG person. My opinion. I could be wrong.
All right. So let's revisit the list. So we got Zach for first person shooters. We got Jim for puzzle games. We'll say Jim / Yield, because Yield doesn't have a home. We've got Gaz for the racing games. We've got JT for the grindy games. We'll say JT / Stylin, because he doesn't have a home. And we're just talking runner-ups. For number 5, for Rat Plats, we have CJ. For number 6, for rhythm games, we got Trickymic. Number 7, for the anime titty games, that was unanimously Jared. For number 8, we've got Alex. For number 9, for sports games, we got Joe. For number 10, third-person action adventure games, we have Resident Darrell. For number 11, fighting games, we have Thomas. And number 12, for RPGs, we have Kalai / Homer. Did we miss anybody?
Not that I can think of.
All right, there you go, guys. This one took a little while. This was long-winded, like you said. But you know what? It's been a while since we got something that really made us think on the show.
Oh, we did miss Matt. Should we slap Matt somewhere?
Yeah, Matt's an RPG guy, isn't he?
No.
Matt G or
Yeah,
Matt Murray?
Matt G.
What does Matt usually play?
Zelda.
Well, that's not even. I mean, does he even play games then?
That's an action adventure.
Okay.
Yeah, action adventure, Monster Hunter.
Oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. Okay, cool. So now here we go. For number 10, Darrell and Matt G. Or you know what? Probably Matt G then / Darrell. I can be the runner-up. So there's our list. So it's a pretty good list. I think to not be a troll list, that was a freaking exercise on my brain. It's hard to be serious. It's a lot easier to make fun of everybody. So, all right, here we go. We're going to head on over to the Facebook, to the book face, now that we've cleared up all the Discord questions. All right. So MZ Nitro writes in and he says, so the question was, we're going to be talking about PS2 Vita rumors. And his question was, is the PS2 Vita dead already like the PS VR 2?
No.
Yep. I think that the VR 2 is coming out at a bad time. And I think that the Vita is going to come out at a great time.
Okay. I disagree only on one point. I don't think the PSVR 2 is coming out at a bad time. I think it's coming out too expensive.
I agree. And I think if it would have came out when they were giving out all that pandemic money and it was this price, you might could have got spilled a bite.
Right.
We're post pandemic and we're broke and inflation's high. And there's no signs of things turning around anytime soon. So you bring out a friggin' peripheral, this is expensive as a console that just became available. Whew.
Yeah, and it's competing with the stuff like the Quest.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the Quest is you don't need any kind of peripherals. That's the system is the system.
Yep, it's just on your face.
I think that's what the PS Vita should have done. I mean, the PSVR should have done. I think it should have been its own system.
I don't disagree with you. I don't know that it's possible, but I don't disagree with you. So, all right. Next up, we have the commissioner, JT, says abandonware poop sock. Anyone? I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
I think he just wanted to say poop sock. So I'm going to say
Well, he's coming down with the vid. So,
oh, does he have the vid? That sucks.
yeah, for the third time, I think he said.
Dang, get better soon, JT. I've had it 3 times myself, so it got progressively way easier. Like by the 3rd round, I was just like, this is just like a cold at this point. So, it's kind of that first time sucked major, but second time not so bad. Third time, I milked it. I was like, oh, I got the vid. I can't do this. All right. Joseph, I hate everything Priestley. Also, I've got diarrhea. Says, what is worse, the DCEU or the PSVR 2?
DCEU.
PSVR 2.
Well, I'm going to come in and be the tiebreaker and say the PSVR 2 because the DCEU brought us Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman.
You're just not going to let us die, are you?
They keep bringing it up. What am I supposed to do? Leave my precious hanging? No, can't do it. So I don't think the PSVR 2 is bad. I hope that Sony doesn't pull the plug and get like all weird like they did the Vita. Just let it ride. Like you didn't invested the money. Let it be a slow burn. Because the PSVR, it kept selling, you know? It ended up selling, 5 million units? They didn't expect it to do that? I love my PSVR. I just get motion sick when I use it. So it's like I would rush out and buy the PSVR 2, albeit not at that price, but I get sick playing it. I can't make my body not suck. So
VR is a very hard platform at this point because you have to invest a lot of money into it, and it's if you ever like if you ever played VR is great, but you got to be up and about. And after a long day of work, you don't want to do all that. You want to sit in front of your video games. So a lot of times people would prefer to play that sit down in video games. And it's a big high upfront cost for not a lot of games on the system.
Yeah. And yeah. I think too, like the PSVR 2, again, just let it slow burn because the PS5 just became available. I think it's just like it's a timing thing. It's not.
and I'm sorry.
No, you just finally got to where you can buy the console. Like they're finally in the stores. Like I'm starting to actually see them. Up to this point, they have been not because there's been so few of them. They've just been shipping them direct, or you've had to do the online drops. So let it marinate. That would be if I was talking to worldwide franchise Jimmy Ryan, I'd say hold your horses, brother. Don't pull the plug. Just let it burn. Let it marinate.
And I just have to go against something that Kalai said. And Kalai, like, what you said is a valid argument. But I think Sony is doing a bad job of promoting what else you could do with the VR2. And I said this on Trophy Horse. With the VR2, you could watch Netflix. You could watch sporting events, all in VR. They've done WrestleManias and pay-per-views. Or sorry, premium live events, where you could watch that stuff in VR, and that's the stuff that's really cool. Is like if it's somehow, and I think this actually may be a thing, but I don't know this for sure. If they could somehow get like with Live Nation or Ticketmaster and put like a VR camera right on the stage, so you could be front row at a concert and charge for that. That's the kind of stuff that makes the VR exciting. It's not just the games. It's the other applications for it that you could do with the VR that makes it so appealing.
Right, yep. I understand that, but who's gonna want to spend $1,200 to watch Netflix? Netflix is $10.99 a month, and that what $9.99 a month.
Well, you say that, but that you guys pay $5,000 to do TurboTax. So, like, I mean, PC nerds find a reason to spend $2,500 to $3,000 on a graphics card that they don't need to play a game that's not even optimized for it yet. So,
I got a desktop next to me that's cost me $3,000, and all I do is podcast and stream with it.
Yeah,
my PC probably cost about $2,500.
Well, there you go. Could have got a PSVR and a PS5,
and still saved money.
That's right, and actually got to play games.
I mean, I play a lot of games. Plus, I have the Steam Deck.
Yep. And you could be playing Vita. Save yourself some money. So here we go. All right. Jared writes in and says, when the Vita 2 arrives, nothing else will matter. And I second that.
The only I know we're going to get into it, but the only thing I don't like about what we heard about the Vita 2 so far is that it has to be online always.
That's what I'm afraid of. Let's wait to get into that.
Yeah. Well, all right. So the next thing he says is, Jared writes also and says, is it true that the Vita 2 will have an EMP protection? When China drops an EMP, we might not have food or heat during the winter, but we'll still have the Vita 2.
And
yes.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. And that is our last
Well,
question.
yes, because I have something to add to this. Actually, I thought about this. They've already proven that is true.
What is true?
That it can survive anything. It was in The Last of Us, and that was an apocalypse.
There you go.
Yeah, but that wasn't a nuclear bomb going off.
I mean, have you seen Bella Ramsey's face? She survived a nuclear bomb.
You know what? I'm taking my headphones down for a second.
Got him. Zinger. All right. So what we're going to do then, while Tricky's resituating his junk, we are going to jump into this week's official topic.
Whoa. Put your pants back on, Tricky.
I had to take my sweater off. I've been getting a little hot in here.
That's right. It's getting hot in here. Take off all your clothes.
I'm so glad that your camera froze when you did that because I really did not want to see you sing that.
So, all right. So what we're going to do for this week's official topic is we're going to talk about the rumors of the PS Vita 2. Now, normally here on the Loot Bros podcast, we don't typically dig into news. We don't typically dig into this kind of stuff. But there's two things that are super crucial about this subject. A, the Vita 2 will literally change my life. And B, well, we got Tricky Mick with us, and Tricky is coming to bring us the news.
I got to go find the article now. I didn't know you put me on the spot like this.
That's all good. So what I'm going to do real fast, and while you're bringing up the research, while you're bringing up the hard-hitting facts about this rumor, I am going to set the stage a little bit. So I have a handful of people that reach out to me anytime there's anything to do about a Vita and anything to do about Zack Snyder's Justice League or the Snyderverse. Okay. So if there's any kind of rumors about, we're going to get a Ben Affleck cameo in a movie, I get these people just start firing off. Boom, 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 boom. Same thing goes with the Vita. And the other morning, I just got boom, one after the other, message after message after message. Did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see this? And the fun part was they were coming from different places. It was different outlets all commenting on the same thing. So I've got the article from Insider Gaming brought up.
I got the one from PSU.com, the one I shared.
Cool. All right. Well, then you take it away from there, Tricky. You kind of lead us in what you got.
So this is coming from PSU.com and is written by Michael Herodence.
Mm-hmm.
And this, as of this recording, it was released yesterday. The article goes on to say, according to a report on Insider Gaming, this is the article that Darrell pulled up.
We got into the trophy horse of him just reading the entire article.
I'm not reading the entire article.
I do it.
You know what? I might actually do it now, just to spite you. Sony Interactive Entertainment is working hard on a brand new handheld platform, and it's not the previously rumored cloud streaming device. This new handheld is apparently the new hardware that Sony has been reportedly working on that is unrelated to the PlayStation 5 Pro. It will feature remote play with the PlayStation 5 and is currently going by the code name Q-Lite, L-I-T-E, and requires a constant internet connection. Furthermore, Insider Gaming claims that the Q-Lite will allow for adaptive streaming of 1080 60 frames per second and will apparently look like a PlayStation 5 controller and features an 8-inch LCD touchscreen. In addition, Sony's new handheld will reportedly include adaptive triggers, haptic feedback, plus the usual handheld staples such as volume speakers, audio inject, and such features. While nothing official has been announced by Sony yet, Insider Gaming claims that the Q-Lite will arrive after the PlayStation 5 with a detachable drive, but before the PlayStation 5 Pro. And that's the article. Okay, so let's take this step by step. I'm putting on my host in the head here for a second.
Okay.
So It says it will feature remote play with the PlayStation 5, which I think is pretty standard at this point. But it will require a constant internet connection. Now, if that's true, and Kalai, I'll go to you first because I'm taking over the show for a second. If it does require a constant internet connection, is that a bad thing or is that a good thing?
Well, before we even get into that, let's start about the whole streaming. Sony needs to fix their streaming.
Have you used it recently?
I mean, define recently.
Like
in the last 6 months.
Yes.
Okay. Since day one of PlayStation Now, I've been hardwired.
Same.
Okay. So I cannot speak to the problems of the lag in the streaming.
Same.
Okay. But there are a few times where I took out the Cat 5 line and played, and I also did not have problems, but I did notice it took a longer time to get into the games.
I had a problem with, I tried connecting my internet directly to the PlayStation. Like, I tried everything, and it was so freaking buggy. It was awful. It was unplayable.
Okay, I've heard those reports, and I'm not saying you're wrong in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying, me personally, I've never had that problem.
I mean, so when Game Pass premiered, their big thing was you can now take it on the go. They actually said you could play it on your system, and they were terrible as well. So I would call them out. They fixed it. I don't know what they did, but I haven't had a lot of problems with it. They do a really good job. Sony, if the Sony truly wants to do this, they need to fix that.
I would second Tricky on this one, and I've been, I would say, out of, with the exception of Tricky, I don't even know if you have played more PS Now into PS Plus Premium as I have. I streamed PS Now back when it first launched on my Vita, and I have talked about this numerous times on the podcast. I played MotorStorm Apocalypse on the Vita streaming, specifically from Remote Play. And
now, when you say Remote Play, do you mean that it was on your PlayStation or it was in the cloud?
In the cloud. I've done both. I've
only had problems like streaming my PlayStation to my system to my iPad downstairs. So I've done
it every way you can do it. I've done it to the Vita, to another PS4, I've streamed from the PS console to my laptop on the app. I've done it on my iPhone. I've done it on my iPad. I have streamed and played on the PlayStation Network every way you can do it. And the only time I ever had any real issue where it was unplayable was streaming from the console Alienation to my laptop.
Maybe
that was a buggy mess.
It's because I was trying to play Ghost of Tsushima. It was too heavy. I don't know.
But what were you trying to play it on?
My iPad.
Okay, so I'm just so I'm clear what you were trying to do. You were trying to play Ghost of Tsushima from your PlayStation through Remote Play on your iPad.
Yes.
And how far away were you?
What do you mean?
How far away from you from the console, and how far away from you from your router?
I was downstairs.
Okay.
I have a complete system. I have a router. I have a very expensive routing system in this house because my husband works from home. I work from home. So like my bedroom has a router that I can directly plug in and get very high speeds. I get higher speeds than the PlayStation can actually handle.
Well, yeah, that has to do with the network card inside the system. I've played Remote Play 300 miles away from my PlayStation 5 and had no issues.
I've heard people do that with Diablo and stuff.
Okay.
So, and you know what the funny part is, and this is the absolute funny part, is that for whatever reason, I cannot get it to work. Darrell couldn't get Xbox to work, and I can get
Game Pass to work. Yep.
Yeah, and I can get Game Pass to work just fine. So that's the funny part. And Darrell, not to knock your internet or anything, my internet is way better. You know what I mean?
I've been at a gig for a year now, a gig fiber.
Oh, nice.
Maybe more than a year. Yeah, I mean, I switched it a while back, but it just wasn't available in my area. This is, I mean, good internet. If you're not up until recently, if you didn't live in a big city or near a big city,
you couldn't
forget about it.
Yeah.
And I don't, I mean, I live right outside of Columbia in South Carolina. So like a small city in a, small state. So it's
okay,
not
but
like.
Just to get us back on track here, we kind of like.
Has he ever listened to our show?
But yeah. So
hold on. Just to get us back on track for a second, just because we kind of started discussing two different kinds of streaming.
Right.
We would talk about PlayStation Now, which is different from the connection of doing a remote play.
But I've done both.
Right. And the only issue I ever had was when I was trying to do the remote play on my laptop from 300 miles away. But I can't say that the problem wasn't where I was, that the Wi-Fi in that house was not that good, because I love my stepmother, but she's not technology sound. Like yeah. I went down to their house. This is gonna kind of break your heart a little bit. I went down to their house. I personally bought them a Blu-ray player. Mm-hmm. I bought them a high definition television at the time. Mm-hmm. And I go down to visit them after they told me that they upgraded their cable service. And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm trying to watch a Rangers game. And like 5 minutes into watching the game, I went, why does this look so shitty? I went back there and the cable guy hooked up their TV with the red, white, and yellow cables.
The AV cables.
And I turned to my father, God rest his soul. I love the man. But he was very like, don't touch my technology. Like, don't touch my TV. Don't touch my tech. And I turned to him and I said, do me a favor. I'm going to go run the Radio Shack. This is to tell you how long ago it was. I'm going to go run the Radio Shack real quick. I'll be back in 10 minutes. And when I get back, I want you to go out to the garage and smoke a cigarette. He goes, why? I said, because I don't want you to see what I do. Darrell, when I tell you, when I got done, I unplugged all the wires. I hooked up 3 HDMI cords. That was it. Just 3 HDMI cords. And my father was one of those meticulous guys that has like the cables behind the TV are all like zip tied together. Yeah. I pulled them all out and I put them in a box. There must have been 20 wires behind this TV. And I connected with 3 HDMI. And then I brought I went down back onto the TV and I put on the standard definition channel. And we were watching the game. He's like, all right, it doesn't look like you did anything. I said, okay, hold on a second. And I switched it to the HD channel. He's like, holy shit, what the hell did you do? And I'm like, you were watching standard definition. He goes, but I have a high definition cable box. I'm like, yes, but the cables did not support the signal. Like you had to buy. He goes, I cannot even explain to you. It's like, there must have been 20 wires and none of them were HD. And then you'll appreciate this. My father was a big Batman fan.
Oh, yeah.
And his favorite movie of all time was Batman Begins. No, not Batman Begins. What was the first? It
was Batman and it was Batman Returns.
Batman Forever?
No, the Dark Knight Rises. Like, what was
Batman Begins,
Batman Begins,
and the Dark Knight Rises.
Batman Begins. I put that on the Blu-ray because I bought him the Blu-ray too. I put that in. It's like his whole world changed. And then I asked him one time, I was like, so how do you guys have internet? And he's like, I don't know. Bro, they were paying for gigabyte service, but their router was only able to go up to 100 megabytes. So I tell you all this because when I was down there, I can't say that the PlayStation service was the problem. It had to have been the internet. So that's the only time I had a problem with it. But getting back on track here, the Vita 2.
So that's what I was saying, is that my house is completely tech. I know how to do tech. I know how I have the kind of the best stuff. My husband just upgraded the speakers downstairs to the TV. I don't understand why I can't get it to stream my PlayStation to play even stuff like Neon Abyss.
The only thing I would say, and obviously I've never been to your house. I don't see how you have everything wired, and everything I'm about to say could be off, but there are weird circumstances of something getting in the way and messing up the signal.
Well,
I can literally go to the other side of the wall that's like right here. I know you guys can't see. That's my bedroom. I could go into my bedroom and my Wi-Fi signal drops, and the router is right here.
Yeah. So I've got one of those mesh networks like Kalai has, and I've got one of the router out hubs or whatever in my
Wi-Fi extenders.
Yeah. One of the big ones, though, the really nice ones, because I had that same problem. There's something about my house that kills the Wi-Fi. I don't know what it is. When you go in my room, it is a dead zone. So I ended up having to buy the Orbi. I think it's the one we ended up going with, one of the Orbi systems. And we did 2 different systems, but it ended up being Orbi to be the one that fixed it. But either way, all that being said, I've done remote play. I've done the streaming. I've done it every way you can do it. And I don't have very many issues, but I also don't play the super graphically intensive games whenever, or like fighting games. I don't play things like that. I don't do anything of that nature when it comes to streaming. But the same thing for xCloud, because like I played High on Life with xCloud streaming, and it was good for a little while, but then it got to be so laggy that I couldn't finish it. But that was because I was streaming a first-person shooter. So, I just was like, okay, this was cool for a little while, then I backed out of it.
Now, funny story. I had no problem streaming High on Life through the cloud to my Steam Deck at my friend's house in KMA.
Yeah, see, I was doing it to my iPhone, just using a Bluetooth controller.
Yeah, so why? It's so weird. Like, I'm having the same problem with PlayStation that you have with Xbox. It's just the weirdest thing ever. And Tricky, I have a mesh network like him. That mesh network is fantastic. We have no dead zones in my house. That's why my husband purposely got it.
I don't know, because like I was saying, I could literally go into my bedroom, which is right inside this wall, and my Wi-Fi signal drops. But I can go to my neighbor's house 5 houses down and have perfect signal.
It's wild, isn't it? So all that being said, to get back to the question that you asked, Tricky, is streaming only or even remote play only or constant connection, is that a bad thing? I believe absolutely.
I agree too, because I think like with me, and I'm just using me personally, if I go to work where I have no Wi-Fi or no internet, that completely renders it
useless
because Jared won't be able to use it on the bus going to and from work unless he's using the hotspot on his phone, and the hotspot on the phone has to do with your cell signal.
Yeah, and that sucks. Like me, I'll be in the mountains all next week. There won't be any internet. Even the cabins and stuff that come with internet, it sucks because you're using satellite internet and it's absolute garbage.
If there's a cloud out, you lose it.
100%, or a storm. And like for us, like our cell service it blows. I think it's trash. I think that, whatever. But when we get there, we won't have cell service. Like it'll be dead. You know what? But that's why we like to go to the mountains, because we kind of like to just get away and turn it all off. Yeah. And especially with my line of work, you're always on the phone and you're always on call. F that noise. I love it. So we're going to go to but see, that's where I started really experiencing some of the biggest issues with the age we're in now, is because a couple times a year we go to the mountains, and you guys have heard me rant and rave forever on this podcast about I can't access my games, or all of a sudden, PS3 generation, the Xbox 360 generation, and before it didn't matter. But the current, PS4 up, it's like, yeah, this is my primary device, but you know what? It still tells me I didn't register it, or because I've got so many consoles, it wants me to restore my licenses or whatever. And I can't do that because I can't get a constant enough connection. So I think Now, here's the thing. Let me back, like, so because there's an exception for every rule, right?
Right.
So, like, there are certain things in life that we all say they're like, these are deal breakers until it hits that favorite section of life or whatever. Okay. For me, the PS Vita means so much to me, and it is my favorite console, I believe, of all time. I don't definitively want to say that, but I always go back to it. I love the Vita so much. If they came out with the Vita 2, they called it, if worldwide franchise Jimmy Ryan said, here is the Vita 2, but you always had to be connected to the internet, I'd be like, dang it, Jimmy, give me 2 of them, and I would fight the fight, and I would be like, this really sucks. And there is a glaring flaw about it, but I would still buy it because it's Vita.
I think the problem is, and the reason why the line requires a constant internet connection, the reason that scares me is because one of the downfalls of the Vita was that you could connect it online with your Wi-Fi, but they also had a cellular service attached to it, and that was AT&T.
Yep.
And when the line requires a constant internet connection comes out, the first thing that popped in my head was there's going to be a mobile data plan attached to this.
Maybe. I
don't want it to be AT&T.
Oh, I don't either. But you know what? In this day and age, trophy, by the way, I would do it. Like let's say, okay, the Vita, the 3G model, like what I have in my hand right now, the OLED. Let's say this came out today, and they're like, you can add this to your cell phone plan, get a SIM card for it and everything. I bet when 2012, when it came out the first time, I was like, no, I'll never do that. Now, at this point in life, 100%, I would do it. But that's, again, with the, I know how much time I've spent on this device and how many games I've played on this device and how much I love it. And so, like, I would 100% do that again, but this time go all in. Like when I first got this, I never one time added cell service to it. But man, I tell you, I could have downloaded and played a lot more games.
It came out February 15, 2012.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
11 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't get one at first. I can't remember when I got my first one, but it was still early. And I love the Vita. I've been a Vita guy since.
The problem with the Vita was that it was ahead of its time.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, and I'm going to say this, and I know like this is a hot take, but this is really not a hot take. When the Vita came out, the 3DS couldn't hold its jock.
Nope.
The problem was nobody developed for it, and I honestly think one of the downfalls of the Vita was the back touchpad.
I think the back touchpad and the memory cards. I think the memory cards was one of the biggest.
They were really expensive.
Yep.
But if they can get onboard storage, internal storage, and they can remove that cellular service part of it, and whatever, that is going to be the deal. That's going to be what's going to make the Vita 2 succeed, because if I can't play my game offline, that's going to be a problem.
It's still a problem. I mean, here's the thing. And this is why I know we just went down this rabbit hole as if this was going to happen as the end all be all. But you know what? The reality is it won't happen. It won't be an online only device because both manufacturers have already lost that fight. And they still, to this day, are providing offline features because we're not at the online only,
Well, to be fair, the fight they lost was the DRM.
Right. Which they still snuck it in there. It's still there.
Yeah. And I still, shout out to me. I still got Major Nelson.
Self-five.
I went to, I think it was either Comic-Con or PAX. Major Nelson was on the panel. And I asked him, I said, we know the whole, you can't flip a switch and just turned off the DRM and you guys went and flipped the switch. And he was like, yeah, I did that. Like, I'm the one that said that and I had to eat it. And I'm sorry. It had to be at the time. It was funny.
No,
but
you're good.
But like that scares me. Okay, so let's move on here for another thing. A couple other things it says.
Wait, can I say something about that? Been waiting my turn. So with the whole online thing, first of all, I think it's a good possibility.
You think
Is the Steam Deck always online?
The Steam Deck is not always online.
What about the Switch?
The Switch is not always online.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Sony said we're never going to do a portable station anymore. Nobody likes it. Then, of course, Nintendo did it, and everybody's like, oh, Nintendo. And then Steam Deck did it. Steam Deck now has rivals coming out doing the same thing, except that they're streaming only, which means they're online always. So that market is coming. People are trying to hawk that market. Which,
to be fair, Sony never said they weren't going to do another one. They never officially said that.
Okay. But they didn't say they were going to do one.
No, they didn't say they were going to do another one, but they never said we're never going to do another one. I'm just trying to be fair. Like Sony never actually said that.
Okay, well, you get what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. I mean, the writing was on the wall that they probably were not going to do another one because of how bad the Vita failed. But in reality, they're the ones that let the Vita fail because I get Darrell's a little biased in what I'm about to say, but people that love the Vita supported the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the people that didn't get, what it was. It was a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4 in your hands on the go and could handle that level of graphics. It was limited by Sony trying to shoehorn in stuff like the back touchpad. You have to use this feature. I mean, we had the problem with Golden Abyss where you had to hold the Vita up to a light source to get a clue in part of the game. So the Sony needs to come if they're really going to do this. They need to come out and they need to take all the limitations away. Say we're not going to force you to do this. They need to be it so you could make a PlayStation 5 game and it could also work on the Vita too. Don't make different versions of the game of the games. This is the game because one of the things that stands out in my mind is one of the Lego games. It's like they released I think it was Lego Batman 3 on the consoles. It was this big open world. On the Vita, there was no open world at all. And one of the biggest things about Lego games is the open world.
Yeah, but I like the ones that are not open world better, personally.
Okay. I mean, that's a fair criticism.
So, and I agree with what you said. The people who supported the crap out of it. I would like to think I'm one of those people.
What, 9 of them?
I mean, and that's not even all I've ever owned. but I mean, I do buy a lot in secondhand markets. So Sony doesn't necessarily see that, but I bought a crap ton of games from them. And I would still be buying them if they would just sell them to me. I write to Jimmy all the time, and it's for whatever reason. Jimmy just says my money's no good to him. But that being said, if I personally believe, okay, the Switch came out and made good on all the promises of the Vita. Everything the Vita said it was going to be able to do, the Switch came out and just did it. Okay. Now the Switch is primed and ready to be a better selling console than the PS4. Okay, which is in the top 5 consoles of all time. All right. And the Switch is, you got to think that maybe they're going to come out with another model soon, or the Switch 2, something, in the next 5 years. Right. So the Steam Deck's out. The Steam Deck is obviously a raging success. So it really makes a lot of sense that Sony's going to come out, or at least give it another shot. They've already sold 80 some odd million PSPs. They sold 20 some odd million Vitas. Why not do it again? And they've already learned from their mistakes. You would hope if you do come out, the rumors say always online. I think just, that's the reason why I asked, what are the competitors doing? Competitors are not always online. Do you want to be competitive? Then you're going to have to play by, you're going to have to kind of play in that space. If you come out and say, here's our handheld. Oh, by the way, you always have to have an internet connection. If it's a remote play only device like the Logitech, well, then that's, like a streaming device only, that's different. Okay. And from what I hear from listening to other podcasts, that Logitech device is supposed to be pretty freaking sweet. It's basically an xCloud streaming device.
Okay.
And it's supposedly pretty sweet. I don't know. But, what really kind of tipped everything over is the Backbone One. Sony got behind it, came out with their, they partnered with Backbone, created the Backbone One, which is the PlayStation version of the Backbone. And again, from the podcast that I listen to, everyone who's put one in their hand says it's pretty rad. So, I don't know. I still think it's too early to get into the streaming only space. I think if you're trying to come out with a cheaper alternative to a Steam Deck, then yeah, go streaming only. But I think you should leave that to the Logitechs and the Nvidias and the Mad Cats and just let the other people do your streaming only device personally.
Yeah, but
I wasn't told you, by the way.
Yeah.
But you know why they would want to do a streaming only, and the reason why I think that's why they're headed? That's the one way they can get all of the PlayStation games on that device without having to worry about memory, about having to worry about developing it. It would be better supported by the fans if they don't have to buy second games.
I don't know. I think you're going to get more. I think you'd have a higher backlash on the fact that it's always, online. It's a streaming only device. I think that you would.
I think if you can't put a card or a disc or something into the device,
yep,
and it's only streaming only, I think that's a downfall as well. Because if it's just a streaming device, then realistically we don't need that because we can just stream it from our iPhone or from our Android or whatever it is, or our iPad, whatever it is. You don't need a streaming device.
And you already came out with the Backbone One, so why it would be redundant to make a device that's just one more step,
right? And the Backbone One right now is currently only available for the iPhone. Mm-hmm. They haven't made an Android version of it, which I'm kind of upset about. But that's neither here nor there.
Nobody wants an Android. Android's crap.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go. Let's get back to the article here a bit. So it says that you could do adaptive streaming up to 1080. At 60 frames per second. All right, pausing right there. I think that's a shortcoming because I think if you are going to come out with a device like this, you need to be get 4K. Yeah. Now, I preface that by I qualify that with saying, right now, you cannot stream in 4K. Like if I go on Twitch, I'm playing 4K on my screen. 4K is going over, being broadcasted on inside the XSplit. But what you see on Twitch is not 4K because it's not possible yet. So that may be the limitation for that. It says it will look like a PlayStation 5 controller and it will have an 8-inch LCD touchscreen. I'm assuming in between the two sides.
Right.
So if I'm looking at that sounds to me like what the Switch is. It's two controllers with the screen in the middle. So,
which the PlayStation has had multiple patents over the past, 5-6 years? Longer on a detachable, like Switch-like device. I mean, PlayStation has been working on stuff like this forever. We have seen blueprints circulate, patents, all that stuff. So it's not like they don't have designs available.
Yeah, and okay, I'm not taking a shot, but the Switch is basically the Wii U.
Yeah, right.
Touch gamepad. It's just with detachable sides.
More refined. Much more refined.
So
the Wii U gamepad's booty.
Okay, so now this is the part that I really want to get into. Sony's new handheld will reportedly include adaptive triggers and haptic feedback. Now, I'm not a big fan of the adaptive triggers.
I love them.
I think they could hurt your fingers after playing for a while. I had to do that with Horizon. You know, the tightness of the bow. It's a cool feature, but I think long term, that's going to hurt your fingers. And I say this, I think if it winds up hurting your fingers, you know, dropping a DualSense is not the same as dropping this, where you could crack a screen on it and basically render it useless.
Well, don't drop it and be a man, Tricky. That's all I can tell you.
Kalai, what do you think about the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers?
I mean, that's a cool feature. The problem with that is it's going to probably wear your battery down quicker.
That too as well. And then obviously, you know, the usual things, volume speakers, audio jack, and such features. So let's just wrap this whole thing up before I give Darrell back the host of the show. I'm sorry, Darrell, I took over.
You're good, man. You're good.
It's the host in me that comes out. Overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being this is going to hit the market, 1 being there's no chance in hell. Where do you qualify this as a reality? Kalai?
I would say, I mean, okay, so realistically, I would say that it's a really good idea. So I'm going to give it a 2 because Sony doesn't seem to want to do good ideas.
Okay, Darrell, who's shaking his head.
I just can't with you. So I think it's going to happen. It's inevitable. We're going to get something. There's no world in which worldwide Jimmy Ryan, the franchise, he leaves this market, you know, a market that Sony's been strong in the past, for other people to just dominate. Okay. I think that the focus has been VR and VR2 for a while. And I can see a world in which they hit that handheld market again. I think that the Switch has proven that not only is it viable, but if done correctly, it is equally as powerful as your main console business. The Switch proved it. What did the Switch do? It wasn't a powerhouse. Okay. And it didn't have this extreme line of first party games that you just constantly had coming in. They had bangers here and there. They used standard SD cards for memory, and they loaded their network with indies. That's all you need. That is all you need.
So you're putting this at an 8 or a 9?
Oh, dude, I'm saying 10. 10 out of 10. It's happening. Will it be exactly what's rumored in this?
Probably
doubtful. Not. I think what we're going to get, I mean, again, I'm listening to a 10-year-old, 12-year-old podcast right now. Yeah, so a 13-year-old actually, where they're talking about the rumors of the original Vita. And a lot of stuff came to be true, came to fruition, but there are things that they were way off on, you know. And I think that it being online only, I mean, I think that's just that's your DOA. If you start off that way, you're dead on arrival. You can't do it that way. I think you have. Now, will it have physical cartridges? I don't know. I would love for it to.
I think it has to, though.
I would love for it to. The collector in me would say it would need to be, but I could see a world in which they say, "Hey, everything that's available on the PlayStation Network, you can play on your."
You know what? Okay. I'm not going to say that it needs cartridges, but I do think it needs a way to be able to download the games onto the system so you're not streaming. That's what I would say it has to have. Because if you I'm trying to choose my words properly here. I think if they go the online always streaming feature, I think you're cutting it short. I think there needs to be onboard storage to be able to play these games.
I agree.
And, you know, and I didn't even think about the battery issue until Kalai said it, you know, with the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback. That's definitely going to drain your battery, because that's one of the complaints about the DualSense now is that the battery dies quick. I own the DualSense Edge. What the hell is going on, Darrell? Because it's like a thunderstorm going off in your house.
It's the fight where Superman and Batman in the armor suit, and it's raining and there's lightning flashing. So
I was saying there's like a thunderstorm going off in your bedroom right now.
I'm gonna rave.
Yeah, it's got to have a good battery life. I put this at a 6.
Okay.
I don't know that Sony wants to take this plunge again, but I think they need to.
You just can't secede, man. You can't just give up that ground. Like,
but okay, let's be real and honest here. Nintendo has held down the market on handhelds since the DS.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Since
they
the
didn't
Game
have to.
Boy.
Nah.
Well, no, because
I would say the PSP was strong.
80
PSP was strong.
million units. Like that's as many 360s that were sold. 80 million is a lot of effing PSPs. Now I have like 10 of them in here in the house right now.
And one of the features of the PSP was the UMD disc where you could watch movies.
Yeah, which back then was so novel. That was huge.
Right. I mean, and you know, I know I'm a Sony pony and whatnot, but let's just be real. Sony has been at the forefront of other media.
Mm-hmm.
Sony is the reason why we have Blu-rays and not HD DVDs.
Thank the Lord.
Okay, let's just be real here.
UMDs are cool though.
The PlayStation,
The Laserdisc needs to come back.
the PlayStation 3 at its core was selling because it was the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market.
It sure was by a mile.
They had the UMDs, which was not heard of back then. You know, if Sony's going to do this, they need to do it right, and they need to come out the gate right. This cannot flop off the start, and they need to put this at a price point. Even if they sell it as a loss, they need to come out with a price point that's agreeable to the market. And I guarantee you that if they put this thing out and say it's $250, $300,
There's no way, man. That's pre-Biden money. There's nothing going to come out for that cheap anymore.
I would say that's a fair price, but it also depends on the specs.
Yeah, I mean that would be fair. I think $300. I think $299 is about as low as you'll get one. What is the OLED Switch? Was it $299 or $399?
I don't know.
I know.
Kalai, you just got one, didn't you?
The original Switch was $300.
Well, either way. So yeah, I think they're so we'll say $300. I just can't see a world where a handheld comes out for less than $300 in today's money. I mean, inflation's just freaking out of control.
A
$359.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, but the original Switch came out at $300, right?
Yes, the OLED's only like $50 more.
So,
y'all remember when the Vita came out and had OLED first?
yes, they did.
In comparison, the Switch the Steam Deck goes anywhere from like 300, I want to say, to 600.
600, yeah. So,
but that has to do with storage, right? That's the storage issue.
Storage and a screen. You like that Gorilla Glass or whatever is one of the features too. So, there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. And here's the thing, guys. Like, it's gonna happen. I've been saying it for years. It needs to happen. I believe it. I believe it with everything in me. It's gonna happen. Now, will they check all the boxes correctly? Will they learn from their mistakes? I don't know. But I believe in Jimmy. Worldwide, Jimmy Ryan.
The Steam Deck at 64 gigabytes right now on Amazon is $518.
What Steam Deck do you have, Kalai?
Oh, I have the top end.
How many gigs?
I don't know what the top end is.
I don't either.
I don't think I've ever actually even read all the specs on the Steam Deck.
I thought you were going to get one.
I mean, I was trying to get one in a trade deal. I'm not going to buy one.
What were you trading for it?
I was trading some music gear. Actually, it was a couple pedals and some recording. Oh gosh, it was a MIDI keyboard, some interfaces, things like that. But the guy,
okay. So I just looked up Steam Deck. The 64 gigabyte from Steam is $399. 256 is $529, and 512, which I'm assuming the ones Kalai has, is $649.
Yes.
That's expensive.
So on Amazon, they're selling the low end one for the high end price.
Yes. When you can just buy them directly from there. Yes, but I use mine a lot. Like my Steam Deck gets used a lot.
Let me ask you a question. Can I buy a Steam Deck and use PlayStation Remote Play on it?
I am not 100% sure because I do have Game Pass on it.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. Is the Steam Deck only allowed to play Steam games?
No.
Or is it basically like a mini computer in your hand?
It's like a mini computer. And in fact, my friend Matt I actually have the entire PlayStation 1 collection or 2 collection on the Vita. On the Steam Deck.
Yeah, it runs emulators like crazy.
You can like run Nintendo system. I have the original Nintendo games on it.
So in reality, like it's basically like a mini computer that I could download an app for. So if I got the Remote Play app and put it on there, I would assume I could play.
Yep.
Yes, but I want to say that there's been problems with that because I think Matt was trying to do that. I would have to reach out to Matt, and I know he's not awake right now because he's got to work tomorrow. So
sucker.
Yeah, it was actually really funny. I told him that I'm off on Friday. We work for the same company, but I am a union, and he's not. So per union rules, we have to have off Good Friday. So he's working and I'm not.
All right, I just googled. Can PlayStation Remote Play on? Can I do PS Remote Play on Steam Deck? And it says, you know what? Hold on. Okay, well, there's articles that say how to do it, so I'm assuming that you can do it.
Yep. Well, I'm going to go on a limb and say yes because you can do it on a regular PC. So if you can do it on a PC, you can do it on Steam Deck.
Okay. Apparently, you have to download an app called Kalai onto your Steam Deck. Turn on your PlayStation and connect it to the same network as your handheld. Launch it on your Steam Deck, PlayStation from the window. Sign into your PlayStation account and pin from the store. Head to the site. Okay. So you can't get the Remote Play app. You have to do it through a third-party app.
Yes. It's not as easy as it is with Game Pass because Game Pass will allow you to play like right through your browser.
Right. Okay.
So that's how you kind of do it. You get away with it on the Steam Deck, and it works great on the Steam Deck. I've had no problems. But like I thought about that because I had I want to find an excuse to get the PlayStation Plus Extreme or whatever that is. So and I have yet to find an excuse. So the streaming isn't that great. And
as far as I'm concerned, the streaming's fine. I can't speak to your internet or why it's not working, but I've done it from 300 miles away with no problem.
I know it annoys me. I'm like, why wouldn't this work? Because I totally am, I'm a tech person. I was there when PSV premiered. I was like, oh, I got to go check it out because I like tech. And Jim took a look at it. I looked at it. I think even Matt might have looked at it. I'm not even 100% sure at this point, but yeah. So if they want to have it online, they better really improve their network.
Well, if there's one thing we can definitely say for sure is that they're not really going to improve their network. Like Microsoft owns that corner of the market. And I actually was listening to a podcast the other day where they were saying that the majority of the Xbox Series X's that have been made are made to fill up their server farms. So that when people use xCloud, they're playing it strictly off the Series X hardware. So there you go.
Well, that kind of makes sense because it's a better hardware. You're going to want something like that running on the best possible hardware you have.
Well, I mean, if you can't sell it, you got to put it somewhere. You guys ready to get out of here?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Tricky. Thank you, Kalai, for coming on. If you're listening to this, you made it this far, there's 3 things you got to do. All right. 1, you got to subscribe to the show, share it with a friend. Okay. That's number 1. All right. Number 2 is you got to go watch a Zack Snyder film, whether it be Batman vs. Superman, Sucker Punch, 300, Man of Steel. Noah, what's your favorite Zack Snyder movie?
Batman vs.
Booyah. You heard it there from the GOAT himself.
Why are you you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to go there. Well, leave that alone. It's your kid.
And the third thing you got to do is you got to go check out Resident Darrell on YouTube. New videos posted each and every week. And we have gained quite a few subscribers in the past 2 weeks. So it's been growing. People are watching all my nonsense. So definitely go check it out.
Oh,
my son is making a ton of noise behind me.
Yeah. Darrell, before you close out the show, I just want to show you something.
All right, go for it.
I ordered something today.
What's that? Is it PS Vita 2? Oh, yeah. The Last Ronin. My man.
Is that your credit card information on the screen?
Yeah. So we're streaming this live for everybody.
Yeah, I'm not like Darrell, who shows up my phone unlock code on every video.
Dude, Tricky's watching my YouTube videos. He goes, "Hey, I know your unlock code for your phone." I'm like, you know what? I was editing this video. I noticed that I left that was in there. I was like, yeah, you have to come get my phone from me. But now, since you've brought it to my attention, whenever I'm filming, I like do this weird motion where, like, let's say my microphone is the camera. Instead of pulling my phone straight up, I'm like, I pull it around because I'm like, well, but you know what? I started watching. And most of the resellers I watch, they just don't even have an unlock code on there.
Well, I'm just more worried about your kids watching the video going, your dad, they're going to Amazon and like, hey, I want this. It's like,
yeah.
How'd you order this? No idea.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been the Loot Bros podcast. I am going to get out of here, and my kid is making so much noise behind me. Who even knows? What do you need?
I'm looking for the...
Okay. All right. You guys got anything else you want to add before we get?
Yeah, just tell your son, stop looking for Switch games, start looking for Vita games.
That's right. He knows better. He just said that to be a troll. All right, guys. This has been Loot Bros. We're out.
Bye.
Later.
World rejects you. This is your family. I am your father. Who was staring back at you? You wish the image was clearer. Always remember who you are. Why would you stop now when you come this far? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Who was staring back at you? You wish the image was clearer. In a life this hard, you've come so far. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. How do you feel when you look at yourself? When is the last time you was even real with yourself? You used to stand for so much, have a firm grasp, now you've gotten out of touch. I just wanna spit a little bit for the lost and I heard everything that I say, you can use it every day. Never let nobody ever hold you down in a world full of lies where the truth's not found. And sinkers when you make your choice, open your mouth and use your voice. You come so far, no turn back now. You are loved without a doubt. I see the pain and all the hurt, I know the struggle's real. A broken heart full of pain seems like it never heals. Don't quit, this is it, you gotta move on. Check yourself before you wind up all alone. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Who was staring back at you? You wish the image was clearer. Always remember who you are. Why would you stop now when you come this far? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Who was staring back at you? You wish the image was clearer. In a life this hard, you've come so far. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. I don't need a drum beat to get my point across. You don't remember who you are, just think about the cross. I'm at a loss to know that we have come so far, but half of us don't even have a clue who we are. You were chosen to live a life that you take for granted, yet you still wonder why you come up empty-handed. A seed is planted, you don't water it, you let it die. Your curse what God has given you by living out a lie. I'm sick and tired of watching all the blind lead the blind. With closed eyes you'll never get to see God's design. It's tough love, but you were meant to live for more than this. He gave us everlasting life, we killed him with a kiss. What do you see when you look in the mirror? Who was staring back at you? You wish the image was clearer. Always remember who you are. Why would you stop now when you come this far? What do you see when you look in the mirror? Who was staring back at you back.